Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Me here. Today we're going to continue our quest to make builds for teams that we're never going to use. But this was somebody's specific request to make a Paladin slash Eldritch Scion build. I can't remember your name. Sorry about that, man. Game just glitched on me. Give me a second here. We are using mods for this game because you said that you're going to download them. So good on you. Bag of Tricks will be how we actually force level your character up, as well as gift you some gear to show you what you can expect. Now, I would never gift myself stuff to be in the game, but I'm not at your place and I'm not a spy in the sky, so I don't get to tell you what to do. If you want to gift yourself the best gear at level 1, do that thing, man. I'm not gonna. But Eldritch Arcana is going to give us a lot of cool stuff anyway, and we'll get a free magic weapon right off the bat as well. So I highly recommend that you grab at least Bag of Tricks and Eldritch Arcana mod, okay? Eldritch Arcana mod is necessary for this build because you will need it to make your character undead. There is another way to do it. For those of you that are curious in the unmodded world out there is a piece of gear in the game that is a headpiece, like a helmet, and it literally says it turns you into the undead. I forget what it's called, but it's going to be like a massive bonus to necromancy spells as well, so it'll be pretty darn obvious. When you get that, if you equip it, you will see your character's con stat gets a dash instead of whatever number it was. And then your charisma modifier is what's used for your con stat from now on, for extra HP, for your fortitude saves. It's all based on that because you are undead, and that's how they get those stats. So that is another way to do it, legally, so to speak. Downside of that is no one's going to ever make a character where they have mega strength, mega charisma, and a con stat of 7, hoping to get that piece of gear, because that's just straight up stupid. So if you could have gotten that gear early on, it would totally have been worth it. But again, it's going to be something that's probably like at the goddamn end of the game, or at least halfway through it. And you're never going to struggle through with just 3 hit points or 4 hit points at every damn level. That's just dumb. So the fact that we can do this using the Eldritch Arcana mod is a must, in my opinion. Now, I have made the character before. I'm going to remake him now. I had a video issue earlier. But notice that we have the ability to make a character using the Tenebris Steps. If you ever want to test builds, for this is for anybody out there that has access to mods, I highly recommend you use Tenebris Steps, simply because you can go here, make your character, buy a mercenary, make the mercenary team that you want, and then run into the Tenebris Steps and beat the shit out of stuff and test stuff out. Gift yourself gear, gift yourself stuff, get a feel for what the character is capable of doing. Sure, you'll face stomp everybody at level 1 through 20, probably, because you're level 20. But again, it will give you a good feel for the character, what they can do, what kind of spells you have, how they interact in the game, and I do recommend this. This is exactly why I do this. This party is being used simply because they're like at level 13 or 14 anyway in the Tenebris Steps, and it gives me a chance then to try something instead of fighting a bad guy that'll die with the first swing. But again, I don't need to show you combat, I just need to show you what your character is going to do. So we're going to make you character. This is one of 2 builds. First build here is going to be Paladin 11, Eldritch Scion 9. And the reason for that is you said specifically you wanted Mark of Justice. That's going to be at the very end of your damn build, sadly. Why? Because I'm not going to take you 11 levels of Paladin and then go to 9 levels of Magus, Eldritch Scion, Undead Bloodline. Because if you want to use those spells for the Magus, you have to use light armor. Eventually you'll be able to upgrade to medium armor, but in this build you will not be able to use heavy armor and cast those spells. A Paladin can use heavy armor. A Paladin can use heavy armor and cast their Paladin spells. So you could totally do the first 11 levels fully tiered up with a nice sword and board build. But you didn't want that. You wanted to be able to cast electric spells and have electric damage and be undead, etc. and so forth. So I'm doing an 11-9 split. It'll give you enough Magus Arcana, Eldritch Scion, so that you can get things like Lightning Bolt, Shocking Grasp, the electric spells that you're interested in, and still have some utility as well. Because I don't want to go from full plate armor for 11 levels and then have to go into something like Chain Shirt for like the next 9 levels, or Chain Shirt and then graduating up into Breastplate for the next 9 levels. That seems dumb. We're going to go 4 levels of Paladin first in heavy armor. Then we're going to switch over to Magus and do your 9 levels. And that, again, will start off with Chain Shirt, studded leathers, things of that nature. And eventually we'll graduate, I think at level 7, Eldritch Scion, you'll graduate into medium armor, which means, of course, chain mail, scaled mail, hide. Probably not for you, but it's there. And Breastplate, which is one of my favorites. And again, that's where you'll stay. So you'll never go back to full plate mail, half plate, or banded mail. Just be clear on this. But for the first 4 levels, you will be pretty darn tough. You will be a paladin tried and true, even if you are undead. This is the guy we're going to use. Let me just fix some things here. And black hair, looks good to me. Handsome devil. Now again, Magus, to be clear, we're going to do Eldritch Scion. You could start with this one. Do 9 levels of it and then graduate into Paladin, but then you're going to be again hampered by the fact that you can't still wear full plate, and I'd rather you have your saves earlier, which is why we're kind of hopping around. Also, if you went this route, nothing wrong with it, make sure you're lawful good. If you're not lawful good when you start Paladin, you will not be able to get Paladin levels, so be clear on this. I'm just going to start with Paladin just because it makes it easier. You can do 2 levels and stop for the time being. Do 9 levels from there, which would be here at level 11 for Elder Scion, and then finish up with the rest in Paladin if you so choose. I'm stopping at 4 because I want you to have 2 smites a day, and I want you to have your AoE channel positive energy ability. Not that it's necessary, but it's better since it's crappy. It's better to get it early than it is to get it late in the build. So I figured at least get some bang for your buck. Notice that we're going to make the character a little gold, white paladin armor type category. Let's get into it. Notice I have done a 25-point buy for your main character. Let's actually backpedal real quick on this because I do want to show you how to do this. I am doing a little bit of training for you, buddy, because I know you just grabbed Bag of Tricks in case you're not familiar with how it works. So get out of here. Go to Control F10, and that's by default. Get you back to this page. Whatever mod you have on or off is listed here. So you notice that I have Call of the Wild, but it is off. Status gray. Notice that the Bag of Tricks, if you open it just by left clicking here, this is a variety of stuff that we can do. So character creation, notice you sure should have yours for mercenary set to 20 by default. If you set it to 20, that would be a 20-point buy. It's still a solid buy. I changed it to 25 because again I like cheating, and I figure if my character is going to be 25, why shouldn't his friends be 25? So that's the only real logic I have here. And again, if you're treating it like it's your party, so to speak, like your D&D party, is anyone at the table given more points on a point buy? No, everyone has the same, whether it's a 20, a 15, a 10, or in this case a 25. Everyone's the same, so I keep it the same for that logic. Notice there's a variety of other stuff that you can change in here. XP being a biggie, and this would be where we force level our character up. So let's actually get into it now, just again to show you that that's why I'm at a 25-point buy versus your 20. You may set it for what you want, but I'm going to show you what the best version is in my opinion. There we go. And Paladin always wants to make it the weird color scheme. Come on. Here we are. Now, for a 25-point buy, first things first, the biggest stat you're going to have is either strength or charisma on this build. I recommend charisma because, again, charisma is going to give you extra saving throw bonuses right across the board. Because we're undead, you don't know this yet, but because you're undead, that charisma bonus will be used to make sure you have high HP and a more fortitude, because you will not have a con stat. Because you don't have a con stat at level 1, we floor it. Okay? Now, that's not amazing, but it's still decent. Notice I'm also going to take a penalty to intelligence. We'll talk about that in a minute. Get that charisma up to a solid 18. Get that strength up to a solid 16. Let's get that wisdom up to 14. And what else can we dump here into dexterity? That's a solid character right there. Now, maybe you say, I don't need that much dex. You're going to be relying on armor. Fine. Knock that down to a 9. Bump that intelligence to a 14. 1 point is going into dex then to bring it up to 10, so you don't have a penalty. And then 4 more points are going into charisma to finish with a solid 22, which will be a +6 over here. That +6 means you're going to get another 120 health points by the end of the build. That +6 over here means you're going to have a fortitude that's going to get 6 more points in it minimum. Why do I say minimum? Because again, being a paladin, you take that +4, +5, +6 from charisma and add it to fort, reflex, and will as well. So again, you're going to have a decent fort stat and will stat. Reflexes is going to kind of suck, especially if you go like this. But again, on you. I don't think you need that much intelligence because this is not a main character. And while we will invest in things, as a human, you're going to get enough points to invest in, say, perception, persuasion, and use magic device, and get these all to 20. And really, that's kind of the ones you want. You may say, well, what about lore religion? You don't have enough wisdom to make lore religion really viable for you. So it's something of concern. I take that to 9. I take that to 14 because I don't like tripping over my toes, and I like being able to shoot with ranged attacks as well. On occasion, you'll have spells that do this. So, or a bow, whatever. Point is, you still want to have a decent dex, in my opinion. But on you for how you do that. If you go high intelligence, low dex, again, whichever is the odd number is the one that gets the point. Notice that even though con is odd, it does not matter, because at level 1, once we make you undead, it'll be a dash. So you can't even add points to con anymore. So that's fine. So we have 1 point, or one ability score that's going to be odd. It definitely gets a point. And then from there, the other 4 go into the one you care the most about. Whether that's charisma, whether that's strength, that's on you. I maintain charisma is your best bet. Notice we have a penalty here. We'll get it back once we get that intelligence to 10. So these guys will all get caught up. So don't worry about that. But perception is definitely key for any character. Persuasion, because in this build, since you're going to be a meleeer by and large with an 11-9 split, I figured, what the hell, let's do the Cornigan Smash trick. This is the feats you'll need. I'll show you here in a moment. But these are the feats you're going to need to make sure that you intimidate someone with a high persuasion check, and you go out of your way to screw over the bad guys, catching them flat-footed, for those that are scared. But first, let's show you how you make an undead. Go to your drawbacks here. This is the very first trait. Again, this is because of the Eldritch Arcana mod that you even have traits to begin with. You want a physique drawback. Very bottom, you were cursed. Notice this pops up. Notice it's Witch's Curse. That's not the one you want. If you hide or show unavailable, Undead Curse shows up, and this tells you what you need to unlock it. Okay, you either need a deity, Urgathoa. We do not have Urgathoa as a deity choice. More on that later. So we can't do that one. We could get Spell Focus and Necromancy. That makes sense. But sadly, you will not have a lot of Necromancy spells on this build. The next build will. So I recommend that you do Spell Focus on that one. I'll show you that later. This one, any Spell Focus works. So just take one of your feats. You have 2 as a human at level 1. Scroll down here to Spell Focus and pick something. Now, what spells would I suggest? Well, you're not going to have a lot of caster levels. So it really doesn't much matter. You're not going to have the best DC check, and you're also not going to have the best spell resistance penetration ability, because that's based on your caster level. Your caster levels are going to suck. But there are a smattering of spells in the game where caster level, the caster level of your character doesn't much matter. Why do I say that? Because there's no spell resistance. If there's no spell resistance, those are your bread and butter. Those are usually, not always, but usually conjuration spells. So that's what I'm suggesting for you. And you won't get a ton, but you might as well pick it, because why not have a buff to this? This is going to be like your grease spell. We'll have glitter dust. There'll be a variety of spells. There won't be a bunch, but more than enough for you to have some fun. Okay? But that's on you to decide. If that's not your cup of tea, you'll probably, as a magus, have more evocation spells than you know what to do with. So evocation is a solid choice. If it's not conjuration or evocation, I would recommend transmutation. But even that's not the best choice for you, because again, you're not going to get many transmutation spells at the low level Eldritch Scion you're going to be. Necromancy, again, like I said, it looks like an appealing choice, but again, you don't have many, if very few at all, Necromancy spells in such a low build. So Conjuration is where I'm going to go. Because of that, you'll see now we can select Undead Curse. And if you go back here to verify it, all you have to do is move a point. See how that goes dash? Look how your HP jumped up. Watch what happens when I take away a point from here. +4 dropping to +3. See how you lose HP? That's how you know this is curing this up. Notice also your Fortitude is at 6, right? Oh, now it's 5. Oh, it's back to 6. And again, that's coming from here. Now, the weird thing about this is we can bump your dex, or your charisma, excuse me, all the way up to 22 in this build. Maybe even 24 if we went a little ham crazy. Start with like a 19, put 5 points in it, finish that at 24. That'd be a solid +7 over here. That'd be 140 extra HP and a +7 to your Fortitude saves, right? Because of that undead creature. You see that there, that +4? If we give you gear that buffs your charisma, or a spell that buffs your charisma, it will have no impact on that undead creature stat you're seeing there. It will, however, give you more HP. So there is reasons to buff your charisma besides extra spells a day and your high persuasion and use magic device, which is a goal. But know that you're not going to have like an amazing Fortitude stat of like 40 something, right? So just be real clear on that. Over here though, now that we're undead, we have, and that's considered a penalty, and notice that it is a penalty. You are susceptible to fire damage, holy damage, divine attacks. You get screwed for being undead. However, you also get a lot of buff. You are immune to disease, By level 1, you're immune to poison, level 1. Sleep effects at level 1. We have so many different protections right now, it's ridiculous. So again, the fact that we're susceptible to some stuff, whatever, you get over it. That gives us 3 traits to play with. Now what traits to take? Well, I recommend an equipment trait, family heirloom, and pick a weapon of your choice. Now for you, I'm recommending on this build a solid longsword. Doesn't mean you have to. Scimitar will be on the other build because we're going more Magus on that one, and that's a high crit weapon, and I think that's more important for you. But you can do this one now. Either works for a paladin-ish character. I would not do short sword because it looks weird, and there's not very many in the game. As far as other choices in here, the only other one that looks like it could be of interest to me would be Flail. And that's a damn shame, because while Flail's decent, and there's some good ones in the game, it is a bludgeoning weapon, of course, that's why you like it. I prefer the longsword. I mean, to me, it feels like a paladin. You know what I mean? So, again, on you, but one of those 3. Notice that it does not matter when we pick our deity here. Let's skip to that real quick. They have a favored weapon. That means nothing to you. Same with the domains. You're a paladin, and none of this means shit to you. Okay? All these mean, or these deities, notice it's a limited list. You're a paladin, you have to be lawful goods, which means their alignment has to align with lawful good in here somewhere. All of these do. Even Abadar, who's an evil devil prick son of a bitch, is lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil. You have to be lawful good. So this is your list. This is again why I start paladin, so I don't fuck this part up. I pick Iomedae for this character simply because he has a longsword as his favorite weapon. Again, it means nothing to you. I just like it knowing that, hey, I'm using the weapon of my deity. For the other build, I will pick Sarenrae and pick Scimitar, because again, I like to use the weapon of my deity. But it means nothing. You can pick whatever you want here. Just know that it has to be a lawful good version in there somewhere. From here, we have that family heirloom. We have the longsword picked. This will not only give you a magic weapon at level 1, that's why you pick it at level 1. So it'll be a cold iron longsword +1 in your hands. You also get skill with it. It is, let me rephrase, it's the equivalent of weapon focus, but it's not weapon focus, which means we can get weapon focus right now for longsword, and we will do so. Not right now, I'll get there in a minute. But that will mean at level 1, follow the bouncing ball. You got a +1 weapon in your hand already. You have +3 from your strength, because you got a strength of 16, so 1 + 3 is 4 to your swing. We'll get weapon focus, that'll put you at 5 for your swing. We'll get you another +1 thanks to you being skilled in longswords, thanks to you training with a family heirloom all this time. So now we're up to 1 and 3 and 1, and another 1, so you're up to a solid 6, and I'm sure I'm missing another 1 in there somewhere. After everything's said and done, you're going to have a solid +6 or +7 to your swing. It's a solid build. Oh yeah, Bab of 1, there it is. So you're up to a solid +7 to your swing by level 1. If you're even on the hardest difficulties, that's not bad. It's not going to be amazing, and it's going to be rough, but it's not bad, and that is a solid start for your character. We're still not done. Other traits, let's jump to your favorite, campaign trait. There's some good stuff in here. There's some really interesting things with Optimistic Gambler, and that's where we're actually going to go right now. The very first one on the list, notice this one, okay? If you right-click it, you highlight it like this, so it's dark. Right-click it, this pops up. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you will actually see what it gives you. Mastery of the Undead at level 1 is free. Got it right now for getting a trait. What does this do? It gives you a spell-like ability 3 times a day to animate dead. Just like the animate dead spell, multiple Skeletors are going to show up and fight for you. But unlike animate dead, where it's 1 round per caster level, these ones are 1 minute flat. At level 1, at level 20, doesn't matter. They're out for a minute or until they die, and that's it. They're not bad, and again, it will help you flank, it will help set up stuff, and again, you're an undead captain of the guard, so to speak, so the ability to summon undead is pretty cool. And you may say, well, can't I get that from the Eldritch Scion? Normally I say yes. Matter of fact, you would get it for free, but we're not going high enough in Eldritch Scion on this build to get them. So here's my way around that problem. So you still get some Skeletors every day. And at level 1, in the hardest difficulties, that's a solid buff. You will fight a lot of dudes where you summon 3 to 6 of those bastards at a time, where you're like, on the hardest difficulty, your team would get their ass handed to you at level 1, where these will trivialize a fight, because they're just taking the beating for you while you run up and just beat shit on the face. So this is not bad. Then, one more to go. We will go with something like a combat trait could be a solid choice here. You know, you want to get yourself some extra initiative, perhaps. Maybe if you had that really low dexterity, here's a chance for you to get yourself a nice bonus to your starting initiative, right? You know, fighting first. Don't like that one. I like Defender of the Society. If you're wearing medium or heavy armor, you're wearing plate mail right now, or can, you get a +1 to your armor class. Again, at level 1, just for free, for having medium or heavy armor on free. That's awesome. You'll appreciate that one. There's other stuff in here you could do. I shy away at this point because you're going to be a paladin. You get a ridiculous amount of saving throw bonuses with your high charisma. I would shy away from ones that are like bonus to fortitude or bonus to will. Who cares? It's only a +1, and you're going to be at like +7 or higher with your charisma. So it's not that impressive to me. But everyone's different. I do like Defender of the Society. We're not taking it though right now. Why? Because there's other stuff that I'd rather have. For instance, we could take a race trait for being human. Notice that World Traveler here allows us to pick up something like Perception. This allows your Perception to get a green check mark on it and a +1 to it besides. This +3 will jump up to a +7 if we do that one. We're not doing that one yet either. Regional trait, I do like Wanderlust. You are in heavy plate mail, you move slow until you get a spell to counter it. Until that time, why not give yourself a +10 boost back? So now you're still moving at 30 in full plate mail. When you get that spell or get something that's beside full plate mail that takes away that -2 or 10 penalty to your speed, you'll be running around at a 40. That's not bad, and that's just free for picking this. I highly recommend that one. That's the one we're going to go with. Notice we have one more feat to pick. We could pick 2 more. How would you do such things? Well, let me show you. You have abilities like Frail. Notice you can only pick one of these 3 things. Either Frail, or Peg Leg, or Spell Vulnerability. Up to you. Normally I do Spell Vulnerability. We will too, but you could convince me Frail's not the bad one. Why? What does Frail do? Notice that you have a penalty to your save against disease. But you just said you're immune to disease. Yes, I did, and you are. So who cares? This is not a problem for you. Notice this problem here, though. You have a minus to your HP, and you lose an HP at each level you upgrade. So you're at -3 here, then -4, 5, 6, all the way up to 22. You lose 22 health if you take this one by the end of the build. That sucks, but we got ways of getting that back. So of all the penalties that you have here, this is not that big of a deal. You could convince me to take this one. Peg Leg, you cannot convince me to take it. What does Peg Leg do? It basically, like it sounds, gives you a peg leg, but basically it fucks up your initiative and it lowers your speed again another 10. We just got 10 back. Why would we want to lose it again? See what I'm saying? Seems weird. But the one I normally take is Spell Vulnerability. Now on this, you can only pick one of these. I pick Abjuration usually because there's not that many Abjuration saves in the game. And weakness to cold, we can overcome that by finding gear that makes you immune to cold. So again, it's not that bad. It still sucks. So maybe if you want Frail, you could convince me Frail's okay. And until you get that immunity to cold locked down, cold attacks are going to fucking ruin your ass. But you're also undead, which means you're susceptible to fire, holy, and divine damage, and now cold damage. So you got all kinds of problems coming your way. It's going to be fine. Trust me on this, it's not as bad as you think. But it is something of concern. So keep that in mind. Frail is an option, or one of these is an option. I would not, for example, pick something like Transmutation, though. Why? Because while there's penalty to Transmutation spells, there's not that many. Look what makes you weak against Divine. You're already weak against Divine. So this would what? I don't know. Probably make you die at the first thing of a Divine attack coming your way. There's also Evocation saves. There's a lot of those in the game. You don't want to be a penalty of those. And you're now even more susceptible to fire. Your ass is going up like kindling. I can't imagine you would want this. That's why we go with something that's lame like Abjuration. Okay. From there, though, that gets us 2 more feats to play with. When we already said we wanted what? Weapon, focus, longsword. Right? You want to swing good. Here you go. 1 more to go. Now let me walk you through the feats you need to do the Carnage Smash build proper. We need something called Dazzling Display. It's already here waiting for us. I'm not grabbing it, but we're just pointing it out to you. We also need Power Attack. We are grabbing that one. And then after those 2, or somewhere after those 2, we will need the following. We want Carnage Smash. Notice it needs a Persuasion of 6. Power Attack as well, which we just picked up. We also want something called Shatter Defenses. That's this guy here. Notice it requires a higher BAB and Dazzling Display, which we're about to pick up in another level or two. So again, we're working towards it. But this is a solid upgrade. And this one allows you to make the shaken, frightened, or panicked targets flat-footed to your attacks. This is why this build is powerful. We'll also grab, much later in the build, something that makes it even better. It's called Dreadful Carnage. Right here. Notice it requires a high strength. You have it. Dazzling Display, we'll get it. Power attack, we're picking it up now. And a BAB of 11, that'll show up here by around 13 or 14 or 15. So this is late in the game, but not that late. And again, when you kill a guy, this character, kills a guy, whether it's with the spell or with his weapon, he will basically shit a fart cloud around and circle around him, and any of the bad guys in that cloud, you will try to intimidate them, which means persuasion needs to be high. And there's another skill that we want that works on that, and it's called Intimidating Prowess. This feat here is another must. It adds your strength to your charisma modifier, so you're 2 different stats now bumping your persuasion up for purposes of intimidation only, and that's what the intimidation check is coming from. Carnage Smash, if you just hit him with your sword with power attack on, you will try to intimidate one guy, the guy you hit. If you kill a guy, though, that's when Dreadful Carnage kicks in and you try to scare every one of his friends in a fucking circle. So again, still an intimidation check. So we're going to make sure this is high, high, high so that you scare as many dudes as possible. This would be an amazing build to be a teammate that helps you out. Okay, so you will definitely capitalize on this too. But this is a solid upgrade. So we're starting with power attack here, and again, weapon focus and our spell focus. Where the hell did you go? Conjuration. Okay, that's your level 1. And I'm just going to call this guy Pally because he's the paladin mostly.
Let us press on.
Notice we can only be lawful good, and this is a restriction. If you fuck up with your Eldritch Scion starting first and you pick chaotic good, you can't make a paladin now. That's why I kind of like starting with paladin. Even if it's just for 2 levels, it's worth doing. It gives you martial proficiency, you get shields, you get a good weapon swing, and you get your very first Smite Evil. So again, you get a lot of good shit here. You don't have any spells yet. You don't get your very first spell until level 4. But you don't even have to go that high. Here is the other reason you do 2 levels dip at least into Pally, and this is the one you knew about, the high charisma going towards all your saves, which is why you love this build. Notice you get lay on hands. That's not that impressive, but it is there and you will take it. Notice these are the 3 we're going to invest in. Eventually, when we get that intelligence back up, these will go to 20 by the end of the build, and I think that's all you're going to get. That's more than enough for what we want to do. High perception, high persuasion, and high use magic device for this build is a solid build. If you didn't want to do use magic device, because maybe that's not your thing, go religion. But knowing that this is going to get to 20 and your wisdom is lame, it's not that impressive. Yeah, you probably have no other religion character with you all the time, unless you take a dedicated healer, like a cleric like Harem or Tristan. And those would be the guys I'd recommend that you buff religion like crazy. They will have a wisdom way better than this, and therefore their religion checks will be way better as well. That's why I say focus on the things that are charisma based. If you don't want to do use magic device or low religion, though, athletics is a solid choice. You are a strength character per se, so getting this up to 20 and the high strength that we're going to give your character will push you into the solid 27s, maybe even a little higher, but not much. But I still maintain that this is our go-to. Now notice we could stop at this point and go to Eldritch Scion for 9 levels. If you want, go ahead and do it. I still maintain that we're going to get at least 3, if not 4. So I'm going to push it. We're going to grab Divine Health. Again, doesn't matter for you because you're undead and you're immune to diseases already. But if you weren't, for those that are unmodded, this would be a boon to you. Notice the Aura of Courage. You're now immune to fear. That's awesome. And definitely something you want. And you would give an aura around you automatically where anyone within 10 feet of you that's on your team have a +4 to their fear saves. That's nice. Notice we even get a mercy. By the end of this build, you'll be a level 11 paladin, so you're going to get 3 mercies. So that's going to be important. Make sure you pick the ones that you want. You're not going to get all of them. Go like so. Remember, persuasion always has to go up. We need that to 6 for the Carnage Smash, remember? And perception should always go up too, in my opinion, because you want to spot your treasure, don't you? Here, skipping the mercy, notice the list is huge. If there's something on this list you want, like say you want to be able to remove the exhausted condition. Right click it, find out what you need. Paladin level 9, we'll get there. It's going to be late, but we'll get there. And you need Mercy Fatigue. Okay, well I know which one to grab then. That one. Well, I don't actually care about the exhausted condition, but I do care about the fatigue, and let me explain why. These are all bad things. Basically what this will do is if someone's affected by one of these things, they're shaken or they're sickened or they're fatigued, and that could be you as well, you use your lay on hands on that person. And it will not only heal them, but it will strip this effect off of them. Fatigue is one of those weird ones where it's a -2 to strength, -2 to dex, and that's a sucky penalty. And I don't like traveling on the overland map where our team gets a little tired and people start whining, I'm tired, we're gonna rest. And you push it just a little bit more, and guess what? You get jumped in the forest. That sucks, right? Well, everyone's fatigued, or several of them are, so now you have the ability, once you start that fight, of walking over to your best fighter. Maybe it's you, maybe it's your main character, maybe it's Valerie or Amiri, who cares? Point is, you can go over to one person in the first combat round, touch them on the shoulder with your healing lay on hands ability, and remove the fatigue effect. That's helpful. And remember, barbarians that rage, they become fatigued by default. It's just going to be something that happens. I think it's only like a minute, but if you have her and she's fatigued, guess what? Amiri cannot rage for that fight where you just got jumped in the forest. That sucks. Go and fucking remove her fatigue. See what I'm saying? It is helpful more than you think. Moving on, feat-wise, remember, if it's one of those feats we talked about, then we're doing a picket. So here's Dazzling Display. We don't have Corning and Smash yet. We don't have Shadow Defenses yet. Those will come later. And we could get Intimidating Prowess, but there's no need to yet. Dazzling Display is fine. We'll just pick it for the time being. Keep moving on. One more level of Paladin before we switch off. Now you can AoE heal. Something to note on this one. You do not channel positive energy like you think. You're not like a cleric. It's the same as far as the same effect. AoE to heal the team. AoE to damage undead. You're undead. Means you hurt yourself with this shit. If you AoE heal in combat, you're healing the bad guys too. Unless you have a specific feat called Selective Channel, which we can get, but you don't have to. I would recommend you heal outside of combat. You're not going to be that good at it. These suck. And we're not going to get a whole lot of love here, making it like an amazing heal like a true cleric would. Something else to point out, this is not channel positive energy. This is you stealing from your lay on hands 2 uses to do an AoE version of it, which is the channel positive energy. So any gear that says, if you channel positive energy, you can do it 2 more times a day. That's a lie. This will not work for this character, because it's actually lay on hands. If you find something that gives you more uses of lay on hands, like a feat, which we just saw on our list, feel free to grab that. That would give you more of these a day, and therefore by extension more of these a day. That's okay. It's not worth it in my opinion. Whatever, it's on you to decide on that shit. And you'll have extra feats to burn on just random shit. So you're fine. Feel free to grab stuff is my point. But just know that if you see something that says extra channel energies a day, doesn't do shit for this build. For here, remember we said 1 point in intelligence or dex to get it up to an even number, whichever way you went. And now we're done with that, and everything else is going to be charisma, charisma, more charisma. And look at those points. Bam, bam, bitty, bam, bam, bam. Look at all that shit. And every time you're going to get 3. So every time these are going to go up, up, up. These will all 3 finish at 20. So you only got enough really at level 10 intelligence for a human character, Paladin, Eldritch Scion that you are, to finish with a solid 20 for 3 different stats. And that's still okay. That's a solid character still. And of course here's our channels, an extra smite, evil by the way, and your first level 1 Paladin spell. Sadly, your last level 1 Paladin spell for a long time, because we're going to do now 9 levels of Eldritch Scion. Okay, why Eldritch Scion? Because it's charisma based. And what bloodline? Undead, because you said that's the one you thought was cool. I'm not telling you not to pick it, and it's still decent. Notice, this is where you stop here at 9. So anything here back, you're getting, with the exception of this thing. Why is this an exception? It's there. This is a level 4 spell. Here's your level 1, level 2, level 3. Here's level 4. You do not get level 4 spells until you're 10th level Eldritch Scion. This is made for a sorcerer build. Notice it's even saying that if you went high enough, you would get level 7, 8, and 9 spells, which you do not get as an Eldritch Scion. It's because they just cut and pasted the sorcerer build stuff. So a lot of the shit you ain't getting. But you are getting this. You're getting that. You're getting these 3 spells here for free, and this spell-like ability for free. That's not bad, and all this cool shit that shows up here is definitely something you get. Class, skill, or religion. Yeah. We'll show you that here in a second. Notice points. Boom, boom. I'm going to take one from use magic device and dump it in here. I want you to see something. Look at this green check mark there. If you didn't have it before, we do because we're a paladin. It showed up because of this damn class skill for being an undead bloodline. They give you training in religion. You know, I guess training with the undead means you train with religious stuff, which is fine. Here, we're looking for a corn against smash. I know it's not here yet, but we check for it just to make sure. You check for that, it's not there. You check for shattered defenses, it's not there either. So then what was on our list? Intimidating prowess. Remember? Strength and charisma now adding to your chance to scare the shit out of stuff. That's useful, and that will kick in with your dazzling display, by the way. It's still an intimidation check. It's not an attack. What dazzling display is you click it, you raise your fist in the air with your weapon in your hand, and you go, yeah! And in a circle you explode. Anything in that circle that's a bad guy, you try to intimidate. There's no attack there, but you can still scare them. It's not something I do, but you can until you get corn against smash. Trust me when I say you'd rather use corn against smash, because at least you're attacking at that point. Here is your first mega spells. Here's your first electric attack, Shocking Grasp, and we're going to grab shield as well. Remember, you can't wear full armor right now. You have to go back to wearing light armor, because this is how you can cast these spells. Otherwise, you're wasting your time doing this. So now we're back to chainmail, chain shirt, or studded leather, or padded armor. But chances are it's chain shirt. That's what you're going to go with because it's your best category. You have a shield spell. You cannot use a shield, even though you can as a paladin. You can't use a shield and cast these spells anymore. So now you're back to one fisting it with a sword and having your left hand free, so you can cast spells. Just so we're clear, okay? So it's going to suck. It's going to get better real fast. And again, all the cantrips and stuff, and your ability to buff your weapon, Magus style. Now we go Magus again. Always those three. Actually, go back. Hold on a second. Just want to prove something to myself. Yep. Just want to make sure that we weren't getting like an extra bonus in here for something I didn't know about. Okay. For here, I'm going to grab myself, what? There is a limited list that you're going to get here. I can't even remember the number. I want to say it's like 5 or 6 spells that you get to pick. I think it's 5 and then you get one free one. So, know the free one's going to be here in a minute. But on that list, it's not listed here. It's called Cause Fear. So again, it's fine. You can pick whatever you want. I recommend things like Enlarged Person, Extra Strength. Why not? You can swing farther. That's awesome. You're a big-ass paladin undead motherfucker just beating shit down. Solid choice. If that's not your thing, maybe you want to run faster. I don't recommend this one. But there's reasons to take it. Notice that with our mod, we can actually swap spells out. So if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. If you have that mod running, as you level up, eventually you'll get to the point where it says, hey, do you want to keep all your spells? No. You can only swap out one at a time when you do that. Pick the one you don't want anymore. And then another spell will be recycled back and it'll say, oh, you don't want Expeditious Retreat? Okay, and when you start to pick your spells, it'll say, what level 1 spell do you want? And again, you may pick Expeditious Retreat again. Don't do that. You specifically said you didn't want it for a reason. Pick something else. I like Magic Missile, and while you're not going to be an awesome Eldritch Scion caster, you will finish at caster level 9. Well, guess what? This is where you get your last missile. It's level 9 Eldritch Scion. So that's still cool. Don't like that one. I like Rave Enfeeblement. Remember, you are a Necro Jackass. I mean, you don't have skill in it per se, but why wouldn't you want Rave Enfeeblement? It's awesome, and it lowers their strength, and you're going to be meleeing with some nasty son of a bitches. Lower their strength, please. Sounds good to me. Don't like that one. Remember, you are skilled in Conjuration. Here's one of your Conjuration spells. Grease. And again, no spell resistance, key for this lackluster spellcaster that you are. The reflex save is going to key off of your high charisma, and of course your spell focus, and the fact that it's a level 1 spell. So it's not going to be amazing, but this is a solid screw you spell from start to finish in this game. Don't like that one. Here's another Conjuration spell that while it has a save, notice again, no spell resistance, and it does damage. Awesome. And again, the Fortitude save, you're getting a buff to that. No spell resistance. And again, if the son of a bitches make the save, so what? It still has an effect. Did damage. If they don't make the save, that's to your benefit, they're staggered for 1 round. Something that's appealing. I can't tell you what to grab here. But I do know I like Grease, I like Raven Feeling, I like Snowball, and I like Enlarged Person, and that's too many for us to pick from. You have to triage. So decide what you have to have now. I think I'd go with Snowball for some extra damage at range. And you may say, well, I don't have a point blank shot or precise shot. Are you going to get those? No, I'm not. You can if you choose to. I'm not going to. But you're going to have a solid BAB with this character. So your attack bonus is going to be okay. And this is a touch attack. Remember, even if it's a ray spell, this ignores their armor. This ignores any shield that they're wielding. So basically that takes away a lot of the stuff that you're fighting, especially if you're meleeing. Chances are you're not dexing it up with, ninjas. You're using this on bastards like, knights or paladins like yourself, where they're wearing full body armor and a shield in their hand. So that you literally say, oh, you guys are protected? Well, Shocking Grass, touch them on the fucking shoulder, super easy to do. Snowball to the face, super easy to do. And again, those are solid spells for you. Keep going. Oops. Megas. Here's your level 1 spell for free now, finally showing up, and a little bit of protection for you as well. At level 9, which is as high as you're going with this build, you will actually get another bump on those as well. And helpful, especially since part of that's cold resistance. Remember, you're susceptible to cold. So again, those 3 there. Oh, here's your corner against smash. It's waiting for you. Remember, you needed persuasion to be 6 at this point and power attack. Now you got it. So you have everything you needed to get this as soon as possible. What this does is now while you're running power attack, assuming you leave it on, which of course you're going to, every time you hit somebody in the face, you will try to intimidate them. If you succeed, they're shaken. That's all it does. But shaken as a penalty is a big penalty. It's a -2 to their swing or their armor class or both or whatever. Basically, it fucks them over. And this is really sets up the whole team, not just you, the team. So this is really nice. When we get Shadow Defenses here, you better believe it's going to get even better. Because then, if they're shaken, now they're flat-footed. That means they lose that dex modifier and dodge and all that cool shit. So it makes it even easier to hit those little ninja fuckers. So I'm saying, really sets itself up for some fun. Magus Arcana, notice the list is huge. We're not going to have access to all of that. But on this list here, because of your Eldritch Arcana mod, Familiar is available. Spell Blending is available. I'm not recommending either. Just pointing out that there are differences from a modded version. For our interests, I would say you probably want to buff yourself up. Extend Magic allows you to have those buffs last twice as long. That's of value. I'll take that, and that's 3 times a day you get to do that. And I think that might even work with your Paladin spells. Definitely worth. Here, I'm going to grab that Grease spell. You know that's important, right? You want to have that Conjuration. So Cause Fear probably is not very useful to you. You got that at level 6. But notice this one, straight up crap, because at level 6 and higher, targets are immune. That doesn't mean that you're level 6 and everyone around you is level 6, but chances are it's not working on a lot of guys anymore. So helpful if you would have went Elder Scion to start. We did not. So again, kind of sucks. And you can't recycle that one out because it's a spell that was gifted to you. Megas. Remember Charisma at this point, from this point on. Level 2 spells, I'm going to take Frigid Touch. You want your melee touch attack. There's 4. We have 2 at level 1. I picked the Shocking Grass. That's the best of the 2. You could grab the other one if you want still. It's Corrosive Touch. I don't think it's necessary. In level 2, there's only 1. Frigid Touch, you're grabbing it. At level 3, it's Vampiric Touch. You're not grabbing it because you're going to get that one for free because you've run that Bloodline. So this is nice that you're grabbing all 3 of these. But I recommend that you go with, say, Blur, Glitter Dust, Mirror Image. Those are solid choices. And Glitter Dust because, again, Conjuration spell that you have skill in. Remember, spell focus. And there's a saving throw, but there's also no spell resistance. You see the appeal. Magus, getting level 2 spell for free now. And a Magus Feat, and another bonus to your weapon. You can actually charge it up now where it's a +2 weapon instead of a +1. Okay, first, do you want to keep all your spells? Notice again the Cause Fear is not on this list. So if you made a mistake, oh, I don't want Grease, I want the Enlarged Person, grab it now. Or I don't need Snowball anymore, it's kind of crap, I never use it, get rid of it. Grab yourself Raven Field, or whatever you want to do. But that's how you would select it. Basically, this gives you another level 1 spell then to pick. And again, you won't get this all the time, you only get this like 2 or 3 times as you level up. So be real clear on when you get that stuff. I usually just pick the stuff that I know I want. For here, notice we got 2 feats. One here. So what's the one we're looking for? Shatter defenses, wasn't it? Right there, baby. And again, we're done now. We have our intimidating prowess, we got our Cornigan smash, we got our shatter defenses, and we got our dazzling display and power attack. We have everything you need to intimidate one guy at a time. Dreadful Carnage is the cherry on top, but that won't show up until like 13, 14, or 15. So we got a long time to do whatever the fuck you want. So now we got this feat, probably this one. So we got 1, 2, 3. We stop at 9. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feats to do whatever you want. And there's a lot of shit that you can do still. You can get greater spell focus conjuration right now if you so choose. I recommend getting those additional traits out of the way, but again, up to you. We'll take emotional drawback, envy, 3 traits now. What traits would I like? Well, remember we had that combat trait. Do I want this yet? Actually, I don't. I'm not going to take this trait. I'll take this at level 11. What do I want then instead? I could get selective channel. Remember, you hurt yourself when you try to AoE damage undead because you don't have selective channel. You heal bad guys in combat if you try to AoE heal your team. That's a bad idea, but selective channel takes that problem away. It's not necessary, and again, I suggest you wait till after, but Arcane Strike, that's free damage, baby. I like that one. I like Blind Fight. I like Extra Arcana. I like Extra Arcane Pool, and I like Extra Lay on Hands. Again, up to you what you're grabbing here. Hell, even Dodge is a decent choice. Armor Focus for medium armor is a decent choice. We don't have medium armor yet, though. So that's why I'm waiting. Okay, I'll take Arcane Strike. That sounds fun to me. And that's a toggle. It just shuts itself off, so make sure that thing stays on. I'm going to grab Mirror Image, because why not tank up some more? Again, you're a really, really tanky character in this build. And notice you can turn your weapon on fire, make it shock damage, frost damage, make it keen, longsword, and basically double the crit range. That's not bad. Notice we need to continue to level you up. So we just go Control F10, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros in a row, and that's enough to take any character from level 1 to level 20. Just click on the character that you want to level up down here. Now, close this out, and you got yourself a character that's always to level 20 now. So, what are we going to keep going? Mega some more. Those 3 always. Here, I'm going to grab Enduring Blades, but notice there's differences in here again. Prescient Attack is good. I like Arcane Accuracy. You'll have a high enough Charisma to make that worthwhile, or Prescient Attack. Those are solid choices, but I do like having a weapon that you can buff up for long periods of time. Otherwise, without this, you'll only be able to buff it up for 1 minute increments. That's kind of annoying. You almost forget that it's there. So you're like, oh shit, I forgot to turn my weapon on. I forgot to make it a flaming weapon, and you have to do that for every fight. That gets annoying super fast. So Enduring Blade solves that problem, and it doesn't cost you that much to do it. Notice that you have 2 different empowered magics here. The one that looks like Chinese letters, this is the vanilla version of the game. Or sorry, this is the vanilla version of the game. This one here with a hand, 3 uses a day. This one here is 1 use a day. This is pen and paper version of the game. So if you want to be more like pen and paper, grab the crappy one. If you want to be smart, you grab the one here that they gift you. The devs were nice enough to give you one that uses 3 times a day, because 1 time a day, that's crap. But 3 times a day, that's money. So you can get either of them. I think you can even get both of them, but I wouldn't. I just get the 3 times a day one. But I do, like I said, like Enduring Blade. Level 2 spell. Let's grab that Glitter Dust, yeah. And again, has an effect even if they make the save. It lights them up like a Christmas tree, so they can't stealth. Careful with this shit, because you could hurt your team and yourself with it, so don't hit your teammates with that. No spell resistance, so you don't have to worry about being a subcaster. The will save, again, is only if they get blinded. So if they're not blinded, so what? They're still twinkling, and that's kind of cool. It helps you and your team pick out the invisible targets. Megas. Now we're at the medium armor. You see that? This is going to be where I finally gift you your additional traits. So that's, where'd you go? Right there. Additional traits. And I did this for this reason. Combat, well first let's do the penalty. Emotional drawback, envy. That gives us 3. And the only reason envy is a penalty is it's a penalty to your concentration check, which means if you take damage when you're trying to cast a spell, which is less likely to be a problem for you, and as long as you got money, it doesn't matter. So basically just don't be poor. From here, we get 3 traits. First one I'm going to grab is Combat Trait, Armor Expert. No, Defender of the Society. There it is. +1 to your armor if you're wearing medium or heavy armor. Now we're back to wearing medium. That's a breastplate, chain, mail, scale, mail, or hide. Chances are it's one of those besides hide. But any of those, you get a +1 to your armor now. And it's worth it. So again, I maintain this is a solid choice. Trait number 2. Let's look at our social traits. Race traits. World Traveler. You want Perception. And the reason you want this is, go back here. See how Perception doesn't have the green check mark? See how it does now? Much better, right? That's how we get that. Okay. So that's on you if you want to do that one. But I think that's a solid choice. The last one, we could do a social. We do a social trait, but notice adopted is now missing. Why? Because we took a race trait already. See that? So again, be real clear on that one. You could grab any of these things. So here's Suspicious. Again, a perception bonus here. That would have worked. We can do Maestro of the Society, but that's part of performance. And nothing else here looks important to me. Faith trait, I'm skipping around to show you the bad ones. Faith trait, there's nothing in here of value to you, really. Notice Exalted of the Society, extra channel energy. Remember, you got that AoE channel energy, right? Remember, you don't channel energy. You use your lay on hands to channel energy. So this doesn't help you at all. Be real clear on this. So don't take this shit thinking it's going to give you another use. The only thing in here to me that would be of use to you would have possibly been Planar Savant. What it does is it uses your Charisma modifier, which is high, instead of your Intelligence modifier for one of these two knowledges. You pick one, and now you get a bonus to it based on your Charisma modifier. But we didn't invest in either of these things, so again, why bother? So I'm not picking a Faith trait. I'm picking a Magic trait. Now which one? Well, go back here. If you did not have Use Magic Device for whatever reason, the one I almost always pick is either Pragmatic Activator, where you use your Intelligence for Use Magic Device instead of Charisma. So that's helpful if you have a high intelligence-based caster. You don't. You have Charisma. So Dangerously Curious is a solid one. That's not only a +1 to your Use Magic Device, but it also gives you the green check mark and still keeps it Charisma-based. That's not what we're doing because we don't need those. So what am I grabbing? Gifted Adept. See how this one allows you to take one spell, I'm going to show you this in a second, where the caster level, whatever caster level you are, is one higher. But for that one spell and that one spell only. Well, that seems dumb. Who gives a shit about that? Well, you do, because again, one of those spells could be your level 3 spell, Lightning Bolt. And Lightning Bolt normally caps out at 10d6, but you're only going to be a level 9 Eldritch Scion. You're only going to be level 9 Eldritch Scion at best case scenario, so you're only going to get 9d6. But having this one trait will allow this one spell to be one level higher. So it'll be cast at level 10 at best case scenario for you, which is the cap, the 10d6. And I thought that was kind of cool, and I figured, fuck it. You said you liked electric, here you go, buddy. From here, level 1 spell, and this is probably our last one here. True Strike is a solid choice. I'm not taking it. Magic Missile, solid choice. Not taking it. Enlarged Person, I like it, but I have to choose between it or Ray of Enfeeblement or True Strike or Magic Missile. You see, we got a lot of choices here. Not many choices that are good. Enlarged Person is decent and it is more damage. But it's also a penalty to your swing, as well as a bonus to your swing. So again, it kind of counters itself out, but it makes them easier to hit you, and I'm not a fan of that. So I could convince myself to get it, but I don't think it's that impressive. Ray of Enfeeblement, on the other hand, well, I don't care that it's Necromancy, because again, you don't have any skill in Necromancy per se. Notice that even if they make the Fortitude save, they're still affected by it for half strength. Okay, so, or half a penalty. So at least there's something. Now, of course, spell resistance is still an issue, but if you're fighting melee characters that, you know, have a high strength, chances are that once they have a really good spell resistance, it's probably unlikely. So this is only going to be used when you fight those really tough guys like the trolls and shit like that, where you can sap some of their strength, and even if they make that Fortitude check, which is possible, they'll still have a penalty to their swing. And you'll appreciate that, because there'll be less chance for them to hit you and less damage that they put out when they do hit you. From here, level 3, again, Vampiric Touch. See the thumbs down? You get this one for free because of your Undead Bloodline. Do not pick it. It'll be here waiting for you here before too long, so don't feel bad. In here, though, I would grab the said Lightning Bolt that we said we wanted. There you go. And then another spell that is because of our mod, Fly. Bonus to movement on the ground. Remember I told you we didn't really care about Expeditious Retreat, the fast moving? Here's why. Because of the Fly spell. Okay? You move fast. Even in armor, you move at like 40 instead of 60. So that's still pretty good. You get a bonus to your melee armor, +3 dodge. You're immune to difficult terrain. That includes things like Grease Spell. Your own Grease Spell, now you're immune as long as you got your wings on. And that's cool, and you get to pick the kind of wings. I mean, that doesn't really matter, but it looks cool. You could have angel wings, you could have black dragon wings. There's certainly something in there to make you feel like you're an undead bastard with wings. There's a bonus to mobility too, but that's not your cup of tea. You don't have mobility, so who cares? But everything else is solid on that, and it doesn't last very long, but a minute per level, 9 minutes, best case scenario for you, that's not bad. Again, really, really nice upgrade for you. And again, now you're officially into medium armor and you're never going back. You're never going up into full plate again. But medium armor, you got breastplates, you got chainmail and scale mail. Those three are probably your cup of tea, and that's what you're going to stick with. Megas. More charisma. And again, just to reiterate, look at those health. 128, 140, 19. Could have been 18, and actually it's actually better than 19. Here's why. See the undead creature +4? It's not catching up. Once we level up officially, it will update. Okay, so that will go up from +4 to +5. So this will actually be at 20 at the end of this level. That's not bad. That's a really good fortitude, actually, for this early level character. Keeping all your spells, aren't you? Probably. This will be probably your last chance to ditch a spell. From here, level 3, again, plenty of choices. I'm not grabbing Fireball because you didn't say you wanted it, and you are susceptible to fire, so you wouldn't want to cast that and stub your toe with it because it sets your ass on fire. Displacement is a solid choice, though. Haste is an amazing choice. Stinking Cloud is a decent choice even, because remember, not only is it a conjuration, no spell resistance, you are immune to poison. So let's grab Stinking Cloud. You can stand in that shit and beat the shit out of bad guys all day long. That's money. Megas, this is your last level of Megas. Knows we're capping out here, and again, we're getting all these except for our Animate Dead. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's go here first. What's our Magus Arcana that we want? I'm going to suggest Ghostblade. There's other good choices in here, but I do think Ghostblade is your cup of tea. You'll get Brilliant Energy, but you can't use it. So you try to click it on, it won't turn on. That's why, is because it takes 4 pluses. Here's +1, +2, +3. You're not at +4. So you can't use Brilliant Energy, which is a damn shame, because that's amazing. On the other build, you will be able to, by the way. But this one will allow you still to use the Ghost Touch, and that's a nice ability if you come across specters, ghosts, things of that nature, because they only take half damage from your physical attacks. Now, with Ghost Touch on, they'll take full damage, which means you will cleave through them like butter, and that's going to be what really trivializes those ghost fights. From here, though, feat-wise, again, we're going to check for our Dreadful Carnage. I know it's not here, but you always check for it just to prove to yourself. It's not here, okay. It's not in the thumbs up category, okay. We feel pretty confident we can grab whatever the hell we want. How about it's time to get you that improved critical for that nice longsword of yours? Because again, while I do have the ability to make it a keen weapon thanks to all this beautiful stuff up here, why burn points on that? We can just make sure that every longsword that's in your hand is always at the full crit range potential. That's what we're doing here. If we didn't go longsword, if you went scimitar, you would do scimitar, just to be clear. Level 3, I'm going to grab myself displacement, make yourself extra tanky. This is your last spell pick for these guys. For now. There's actually a couple more we're going to get later. Or one more. But that's done with Magus now. We're back to Paladin for the rest of the build. Notice, Paladins get a Divine Weapon upgrade, very similar to the Magus one. Slightly different. You know, there's the Flame, there's the Speed, there's the Keen, but you can get like Disruption, you can get Holy, Axiomatic, all that shit for free. And we're unlocking all the way up to here, so this is going to be a serious upgrade. And better than that, they stack with the Magus upgrade, so I can have a Flaming Frost Shock weapon from the Magus side, and then buff it for Disruption and Speed or whatever over on this side, all on one weapon. And that's funny as shit. I'll show you how to do that. Keep going there, there, and there. See the Keen, the Flaming, and or +1. Those all take 1 point. This is the point they're referring to. I'll show you that. It's a little confusing. Keep going, Paladin. Boom, boom, boom. We're at level 15. This is where we finally get our Dreadful Carnage. It's not in here. Scroll down. There it is. That's your guy. Now when you kill something, Took a while to get there, but this is the fastest I normally get it. We could have gone crazy for Paladin 11 levels in. You could have had this at level 11, by the way, and then do 9 levels of Magus. But that's weird because you get plate mail, plate mail, plate mail, and then at level 12 you go back to wearing chain shirt. Feels stupid. That's why we did the weird order here, just so we're clear. But this is still a respectful time to get it, and there's still plenty of games still to play. Anything you kill, whether it's spell or weapon, that this character kills, you scare everyone in a big fucking circle that survives. That's bad guys, of course. So massive intimidation checks now, which is really going to be fun. Notice we have a mercy, 2 more to pick from this one and this one. Pick something that makes sense. I like curing my friends of the diseases that they may acquire. Remember, you're immune to disease. That don't mean your team is. That's a solid upgrade here. Now we're back to picking whatever the hell you want. More Paladin. More Charisma. New spell list. Level 2 spells now for Paladin. Decent list. And we'll walk through what I think are good choices for you on that one. Paladin. Notice we're getting another aura or resolve. You're now immune to charm, spells, and spell-like abilities. That's awesome for you. And you get an aura to your teammates within 10 feet where they're basically protected. Get like a +4 to their save as well with that shit. So that's not bad. Again, only works if you're awake and not dead. Undead still counts though. But if you're unconscious or dead on the ground, it doesn't buff anybody. So that sucks. Keep your character alive. Notice we're at Divine Weapon 2 upgrade now. It's basically a +2 weapon instead of a +1. Boom, that's nice. What are we going to grab here? Honestly, it doesn't much matter. I like Blind Fight. I like Dodge. Where's Armor Focus? You're going to be wearing medium armor from this point forward. Why not get another +1 to your armor? There's nothing wrong with that. Again, you're always going to wear it, so why not have it? Again, Dodge is good too, but you can lose Dodge if you're caught flat-footed. So there's plenty of choices here. Notice that we have now the ability to make it a holy or axiomatic or disruption weapon. Notice they take 2 points, either of them, right? So to make it a holy weapon, it takes 2. This is the 2 they're referring to. So instead of making it a +2 better weapon, you're just making it a holy weapon or axiomatic or a disruption weapon. And this one specifically says that it has to be a bludgeoning weapon. I don't know that that's true. If it is, that sucks for you because you're using a longsword. And there's no good family heirloom that's a bludgeoning weapon. Remember, we've found 2, a flail and I think a club was in there, and that's it. You're never going to pick club. Flail, maybe. Still feels weird, though, to be a paladin with a flail. I don't know. And there's good flails in the game, so I shouldn't discount that. But there is really good heavy maces in the game. But again, there's no family heirloom heavy mace, which is a bummer. Go with paladin. More. Now, last mercy. What do you like? Exhausted's here now. I like cursed, confused, or poisoned. Remember, you're immune to poison. That doesn't mean that they are. But again, this would be something you could take off of a teammate. Especially confused. When they start beating you in the face, walk him over there, heal him with a lay on hands. It will strip off the confused effect. I think there's a roll, but it's just one of those things. Like, where's poisoned? Using the paladin's level as the caster level. Basically, it's like neutralize poison spell. So, yeah. But again, poison, shaken. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Up to you, but whatever. Pick something. Curses. I like being able to remove curses. Doesn't mean you're going to be very good at it, though. Keep going, paladin. Boom, boom, boom. Almost done. We have 1 feat to grab, and this is it. Again, we have yet to grab selective channel. If you want it, here's your chance. You don't like that? We got blind fight. We got dodge. I love my extra lay on hands. It's only 2 more uses a day, but so what? That's 1 more use of this channel a day. Or 2 uses of lay on hands for yourself or a teammate, because you can do either. But I do like this. Eldritch Arcana, Eldritch Scion. Why? Look at the list. Nothing extra special here. We had all the same stuff a moment ago when we picked our last Ghost Blade, right? But see the spell blending here? Spell blending, there's 2 options. Normally it's 1 spell, but sometimes you can get 2 spells. Let me explain how this works. 2 spells only works when you can cast level 2 spells or higher. We can cast level 3. So if you grab 2 spells, you can pick any level 2 spell twice, or any level 1 spell twice, or one of each, right? And these are the wizard spell list, to be clear, okay? But that's not our cup of tea. There's some good stuff in here. Look at the level 2 spells that you didn't have access to for some of these things. These are the ones you already picked or got for free. Notice you didn't have any of these summons. Sense Vitals wasn't there. You want some sneak attack damage? It's only going to be like 3d6, but so fucking what? It's there. You want to see invisible targets? Here you go. Resist energy. Remember, you're susceptible to cold, baby. That's not bad, but you can actually get this from a paladin side of things. But the point is there's a variety of things that you didn't have access to suddenly made available. Bone Shaker, again, a solid 96 of damage auto hit spell. If you grab Bone Shaker, 3d6 plus 1 per every 2 cast levels, so 9 would be 4. So it'd be 76. Sorry, 76 of damage. Not amazing, but still, it's auto hit. Again, up to you. I'm not suggesting you grab the twofer. And you can only get, if you pick a 2 spell list like this from your spell blending, you will never get this as an option again. Okay, you can get this one multiple times, but once you get 2 spells, they will never let you get 2 spells again. You always get 1, 1, 1 from this point on. I'm suggesting 1 though. It's your last pick anyway, but I'm suggesting 1. Why 1? Because this will be your level 3 spells. See this? This is a whole new list. These are all your level 3 shit. Look at all the stuff that you had that you picked for free, and for some reason they're not letting you get Summon Squirrel. I don't know what that's about. But you can get Summon Monster 3, Spike Pit. That's a conjuration spell. You could have some fun with that. And again, it'll take damage. It is no spell resistance, so if they fall in it, they're gonna fucking get hurt. There's nothing to do with it. It's a saving throw, or that's it. So you could do that one. You do Battering Blast. I don't recommend it because you're only gonna get 1 ball of attack. You get a ball at level 5, and at 10, and at 15, and at 20. So you're level 9 caster level. So you're only gonna get 1 ball. You're 1 level short of getting 2, and even that's not that impressive. There's other stuff in here like Deep Slumber, Whole Person. Again, you know, you don't have access to enchantment spells. Here's your chance to lock a target down, paralyze them. It's not going to be great, and again, you suck at these things, so I kind of say no. What do I suggest? I like Heroism. This is a solid +2 to your swing, or someone on your team swing, +2 to your saves, +2 to your skills. This is a solid spell. Again, up to you, but I like it. And again, I think that's worth picking. And again, here it is. Here's all your new level 3 Paladin spells. See all the ones that we could have gotten? Delay Poison Communal, Resist Energy Communal. Again, you'll have a variety of things to pick from still. Last level of Paladin. Here is where you finally get your +3 magic weapon from the divine side of things, and your Mark of Justice. Yes, it's late. I know, it sucks. But it makes sense to me to do it in this way. You finish with a solid 20, 20, and 20 for those. Those are some nice looking stats right there, bro. And you finish with a really nice charisma. 22, that +6 there. Look at that health, man. Boom. You went up another 20. Bam, right there. That's nice. And again, we'll get this even higher. To get this even higher, you'll be in the 300s for health with gear. Notice your Fortitude. Again, you have the Undead Creature 5, the Divine Grace 6. Once we finish leveling up, that Undead Creature will go to 6 and never go any higher. The Divine Grace can go higher when we give you more charisma gear. So again, we will have really good stats here, here, and here. And that's before I even give you like a Cloak of Resistance +6. That'll add 6 here, 6 here, and 6 here. You'll be in the high to mid 20s, if not the 30s for your saves. You're going to be very, very solid. Now, I like to normally separate from the pack, put stuff where it makes sense to me, and then rest. I'll show you how to instant rest, and we'll show you some different gear, some different ways to buff your character, and we'll even give you your suggestions for your Paladin spells. Get back here, you dumbass. So I'll show you stuff that I would do. And I'm not going to put everything in here because, again, you don't have enough room with 3 trays like this to even put in all your abilities and spells. Why? Look at the amount of abilities you have. I would normally put in Charge because you're going to melee. So the ability to run up and smack them in the face with a +2 to your swing, even if it's a -2 to your armor class for that 1 round, it's totally worth it. Because if it gets you that first initial hit, remember, with power attack on, you hit him in the face, you do an intimidation check. He's scared for you. That means on the next combat round, it is nothing but shatter defenses all the time, which means his dexterity and dodge bonuses are in the toilet, and you're basically hitting him as if he was flat-footed. Bam, bam, bam. Normally I'd put coup de grace on here, but I'm not going to this time because who cares? I will put down your cool Animate Dead ability, your Chain of Energy that heals. Move that over here. I'll put your Grave Touch and your Grasp the Dead ability. That one's pretty badass. Let's put your Laying on Hands. We'll put one of them down here, just the one that we use for ourselves. Notice what you have two. Same with your channel. This is the damage undead. You're undead. You will hurt yourself if you activate this. This one here is the AoE heal. You will heal the bad guys if you activate this. So this is only to be used outside of combat. Okay? And this is the only one that you care about. I'm going to put your Extend Magic over here. Now, look at our buffs. We have... Oh, I almost forgot your Smite. Sorry. And I'll leave room for something else important in a minute. I'm going to put your Arcane Weapon up here. I'm also going to put these things up here. There's a reason for it. I'll explain why in a minute. Notice I'm also going to put your Arcane Strike and your Power Attack up here. Arcane Strike likes to shut itself off. I'm going to put all your buffs over here for Magus Weapon. That's these ones here. The big swords, those are your Paladin buffs. Okay, so if the swords look tiny, then it's the Magus ones. So you got Flame, we got Cold Damage, we got Shock Damage. We got the ability to make it a keen weapon. We don't need that because you have improved critical for Longsword. But until that time, you haven't. And if you switch from Longsword to something else, like maybe you pick up a Scimitar, maybe you pick up a Heavy Mace, if you want to have them to be keen, here you go. You have the ability to instantly activate that shit. We also have Enduring Blades. I'm going to put that there. We also have Speed Weapon, and we have Ghost Touch. Notice I'm not putting over the Brilliant Energy. See if I click it, you know, see how it doesn't put on a toggle? Here's a toggle. See how if I click it, nothing happens? This one requires 4 points. Right now, you only have a +3 for your Divine Weapon. See that there? And a +3 for your Arcane Weapon. See that there? If we went this high, you could do the Brilliant Energy. You don't have that. So it's useless for you. It sucks, but it's what it is. You got plenty to play with. I'm going to put your Divine ones down here. And I know that sounds weird. Here's your Divine Bond. We want your Mark of Justice over here next to your Smite. We also want your upgrades here. So here's a Speed Weapon, Disruption Weapon, Holy Weapon. Maybe you want to have the Fire Weapon over here, or the Axiomatic, or the Key. But enough down here to show you that you've invested in it, right? And I'm leaving this spot open for a spell. More on that in a minute. Matter of fact, let's just do that right now. Paladin Spells you have to put in your book, okay? You don't get cantrips, but you get 1, 2, and level 3 spells. Not many, but they're worth grabbing. What do you grab? Grab the buffs. Notice I'm going to get you Challenge Evil. That's key. We're going to talk about that last. Bless or Bless Weapon are solid choices, in my opinion. Divine Favor is even not that bad for you. And it gets better as you get higher caster levels. Notice your caster level is not 11 because you're in the level 11 Paladin. You actually are level 8. Why? Because it's not until level 4 that they give you your spells. So you're subcaster even as a Paladin, which straight up sucks. So this means you're not going to get the +3 for your attack and +3 for your damage here. So you're only getting +2 and +2. So I'll pass on that for now. Notice I do like, however, Veil of Heaven as well as Veil of Positive Energy. They are basically the same spell. This one will protect you against outsiders that are evil. That's devils and demons. This one will protect you against undead. All it does is a +2 to your armor and a +2 to your saves against those types of creatures. But it lasts for a long time. So if I know I'm fighting undead, I put one of these in my damn list for the day. If I know that there might be a devil that we're dealing with or a demon that's coming along, I put one of these in my list. So again, I'll swap them out as necessary. It doesn't last long, but 10 minutes per level, even at level 8 here, that's 80 damn minutes. That's more than enough to clear a dungeon. Notice then your Bless and your Bless Weapon. First Bless, you know what it kind of does. It's a +2 to your swing, blah, 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 but for you and the team as well. And, can't stress this enough, counters Bane. So if Bane has been thrown onto your team by an evil cleric, get everyone together, cast Bless, you won't get the Bless effect, it'll just strip Bane off. Poof. I think it's automatic. It just does that. Bless Weapon, on the other hand, this is for you or a friendly. Notice what it does. You get a weapon. It's treated as magic for purposes of overcoming DR. So this is better early on when people are like, I can't hit this guy because he has DR 10/magic, let's say. I'm not doing damage, Buff the teammate with this. Keep reading though. If They need good aligned weapon to overcome the DR of an evil creature. You know, they have like DR 10/good, for example, which means you have to have a good weapon. This makes the weapon good. Keep reading though. All critical threats against evil foes are automatically confirmed, which means that anytime you could have crit, you will crit. That's power. And that's amazing. That's for you or anyone else. That's something you want. So I think that's a solid choice. And again, there's other stuff to look at here. Know that you're not really a healing guy. You got lay on hands. You use that more than you would use cure light wounds or cure moderate wounds. But there's some decent stuff in here to think around with. Now, challenge evil. Last one to talk about for level 1. Remember you have smite evil? Remember if you read the tooltip, it says it will not work against anything that's not evil. So if they're neutral or good, don't do shit. But you will waste your smite evil attempt. Well, how do you know they're evil? This is one way. You click this spell and I'll show this to you. If you highlight any character, if they're evil, the cursor will not have a red X through it. If they're not evil, there will be a big red X through the cursor, letting you know this is not a viable target. This is a good way for you to determine in combat, hey, is this a guy I can smite evil on? Yep, good. Then don't use the spell. I mean, you can if you want to, but don't use the spell. Use your smite evil on the son of a bitch, then go to town. This spell will fuck up evil dudes. Gives you a bonus to your swing against them. There's a saving throw to avoid it, and it lasts a good long time, but only on one target. You don't get to switch targets. And, best part, if for whatever reason they ignore you, like he says, oh, I'm not fucking with that guy because he's a mean son of a bitch, and they go try to beat up, say, on your wizard or whatever, they become sickened every time, every round that they're away from you. If they're not directly challenging you, hence the name of the spell, they get sick, which is like a massive penalty to their, well, at least a -2 penalty to their swing, their saves, a bunch of shit. This is a real good fuck you spell, basically, is what I'm telling you. Level 2. I like Bestow Grace. I like Effortless Armor. I like Resist Energy. I like Weapon of Awe. There's really no wrong answer on a lot of these things. Well, let's talk about some of these stuff. I even like my Aura of Greater Courage. Let's do the Weapon of Awe. Let's talk about some of these, okay? So Bestow Grace, easy enough to understand. If the target is a friend, and they're good, and have a decent charisma, which means 12 or better, they use, just like you, their charisma modifier gets added to their saves. So now imagine this on a good sorcerer on your team. Someone who has charisma all the way up to, like, say 24 or more. Buff him or her with this thing, as long as they're good, they'll have an amazing saving throw, just like you. That's awesome. And it lasts for a good long while. Also, Aura of Greater Courage. Notice this one. It's centered on you, decent amount of duration. You have to have Aura of Courage for this to work, but you have that. What this does is, instead of making them highly resistant to fear, now they're immune to fear, so long as they're within that radius of you. This is an amazing fuck you to the bad guys that are trying to scare your teammates. And if you don't understand what that means, get into the earlier chapters where you're below fighting with the kobolds. A lot of those wizards, kobold sorcerers, they'll like to cast fear spells that cause fear. Watch how fast your teammates turn tail and run, and will run like a stupid bastard past the bad guys, the other bad guys, and the bad guys will get attacks of opportunity on them, chopping them up into pieces as they run fleeing away in terror. Now take that problem away. That's what this is doing. Okay, that's an amazing spell. And again, it's not so amazing in that it's so late in the game that you're getting it, but again, there's plenty of fear effects in the late game still too. Notice we have Weapon of Awe. This one's, again, for you or a teammate. Notice it's a bonus to damage, period, and a sacred bonus at that, which means it stacks. But keep reading. If they crit, they have to crit. This was no guarantee that they will, but if they crit, watch this. The target becomes shaken for 1 round, no saving throw. Well, we have Carnage and Smash Brother Mutant. I don't need to worry about that. I'll scare them naturally. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Remember, there's an intimidation check, and they may resist it. They can roll a nat 20. It happens, and man, that shit sucks. Well, here, if you crit, there is no save. Boom. And while I can cast this on me, it doesn't say I have to. Cast it on your teammate that's wailing on dudes. Let them crit every so often, like knock knock. He gets a shit ton of attacks. Let him sneak attack and crit the motherfuckers. And they shaken them for 1 round and 1 round only, guaranteed. And then we come in with our shattered defenses and then do our typical beating the fuck out of them. This is a solid upgrade. So again, you will appreciate this spell for you or the teammate. Now, having said all those, Effortless Armor, we didn't pick it, but you can. Remember, you're wearing plate mail now or chain mail. Stuff that's going to impact your ability to run, but not by that much. That's why I don't really care about this one. If you're wearing full plate though, which is the other build, this would be a must spell. At least once you'd want to have that so you're not impeded by it. So that's the thing. But you don't really need this that much in my opinion. However, see these two spells? These ones are weird. And I keep just counting them as being crap because they don't last very long. But I keep forgetting this part. Both of them are swift actions, either of them. That swift action means I can activate this. Let's say I'm fighting these two bad guys. I don't want to deal with this jackass, but I want this motherfucker dead. I cast this spell as a swift action on Doofus to lock him down. Basically just stands there fascinated with me and just kind of, wow, that's amazing, and just stares at you for an entire round. The swift action means that I still get to attack. So if I'm close enough, I can swift action that motherfucker and then full attack on this son of a bitch. Maybe I get lucky and kill him. At the very least, I wound him enough that he's not going to be a problem after the next round. Because a round later, and this guy's going to be back to doing his normal business. That's a bummer. And again, if you damage him in any way, he goes back to being snapping out of it. They're not helpless. They're not paralyzed by this. But it's still a good, fuck this guy. And notice, no save. This one, on the other hand, has a save to negate it. It only lasts for one round. It's still a swift action. Instead of being a, they are entranced by you or fascinated, they're entangled, which means little vines will creep up from the ground and wrap around their legs. Entangled effect is like a decent penalty to dexterity, their movement, just basically a fuck you to most characters. And again, they may make the check, they may not. Again, it's a will save. Against a fighter type, their will saves suck. So this could be a good fuck you. And again, a swift action, I'll happily every once in a while cast that spell on a bad guy, lock him up, and then beat the shit out of this dude. You know, potato. It's kind of how you want to do it. I still think Eloquence is probably better than Entanglement. But if you can, and by the way, but since they only last for a round, if you can extend those, that could be interesting. Now it's 2 rounds of them not doing shit. That's a happy team that you have now where you've locked down one of their bad guys for 2 rounds straight. That's awesome. So again, you can see the appeal. Level 3, and this is your highest level Paladin spells that you'll get. So you didn't go enough Paladin levels to get to level 4. The ones that I like here are the Archon's Aura and the Angelic Aspect. There's other good stuff in here. You know, your Remove Curse, your Prayer, your Resist Energy, your Delay Poison, Communal, all that good shit. But I like these two because they're solid buffs and they last for a good long while. Archon's Aura for yourself, decent amount of time. Notice what it does for you. While it's up, any hostile creature within 20 foot of you does a will save or they're at a penalty. If they make the check, they're fine. If they don't make the check until they hit you, they're at this penalty. Okay? As soon as they hit you, the effect wears off for them. But it's an AoE. Remember, it's multiple bad guys you're impacting with this ideally. So again, why not have multiple bad guys be a penalty to their attacks and their saves and to their armor for the duration of the spell? That's a solid fuck you to the bad guy. Just saying. And then you go in and start doing your Cornigan smashing all over their faces. That's awesome. Angelic Aspect. Another personal effect on you for a decent amount of time. Remember, 8 minutes. You get yourself some acid and cold resistance. Remember, you are susceptible to cold. This could be useful early on. DR5/evil. Now remember, we have DR10/magic for being the undead bloodline that you are, right? Well, this doesn't stack. So it's not DR5 and 10, now you have 15. It doesn't work that way. But what it does do is it layers. What do I mean by layers? If you have a magic weapon, that DR10 is useless. Well, is it an evil magic weapon? No. Well, then I have DR5. You see that? If it's the best case scenario, so if it's a non-magic, non-evil weapon, it wouldn't be 5 that you're resisting, it'd be the 10. It takes the best case scenario. So you want DR10 against magic, DR10 against adamantine, DR10 or 5 or whatever against evil. You get the idea. The more of those that you can stack on your character, the more likely you're resisting some damage that comes your way. It's not an amazing amount of damage, but it's definitely helpful. And you get some deflection bonus and some save bonus only against evil creatures, so it's basically like protection from evil. But again, that's not particularly important. Notice even further, when you cast this on yourself, your weapon is considered good for purposes of attacking people that have DR10, let's say, /good. It's a good weapon now, so it penetrates that completely. So this is something you'll see on evil creatures. So again, another way for you to make your weapon better. This is a solid upgrade, and again, I do appreciate those, and that's my take on those spells. Now, this video is definitely long enough, but let me show you some tricks here real quick. I want to do control. Actually, I'll put some spells away. Let's put plus. I'll put you there. You guys. I'll put the touch attack over here. I'll put all 3 of your touch attacks from low to high. Here's your vampiric touch. I'm gonna put your lightning spell in there too, because why the hell not? It's your nice heroism buff. We're gonna put these random pally buffs that you had on your character out there as well. We got some bless. I did that one already. Here's bless weapon. Here is your veil of positive energy if you're fighting undead. Shield spell that came from your magus. It's a nice little snowball to shoot him in the face. Go like that. Maybe you want that grease spell out there so you can trip the bastards up. Yeah, whatever. You're not going to get everything on the list, is my point. Control F10. Come up here. Close that one down and see rest and rations. Instant rest. You got all your spells and stuff back. You're fully charged up. Everything is back to the full level like you took a knee. Okay? Now, plenty of spells. Again, just to rehash that. 4 level 1, 3 level 2s, 2 level 3s, and we have not modified your character yet. Remember, the more wisdom you have, the more spells a day you'll have for Paladin. For charisma, the more charisma you have, the more spells you'll have for Magus. So you have 7 level 1, 6 level 2, 4 level 3 right now. And again, you get to pick and choose as you will because you're like a sorcerer. That's why you like the Eldritch Scion, I'm assuming. At least that's why I like him. Now, let's talk about gear, because we need to talk about weapons as well. So go here under items and equipment. Notice that you have this item search. Select all 4 of these things. Say enable filters. These are the categories. Okay. If you know what you're looking for, like say I want the best longsword, just type in longsword, search. These are the list of longswords in the game. It will only show you a list if that list is 100 or less. So if you say, let's just show me anything that has the name sword. I mean, that's short sword, long sword, dueling sword. See that? More than 100 results, so it will not show it to you. So you have to be specific. So that's why we say long sword, right? Assuming I can type. So here's the long swords in the game. Redeemer, I go with the name goes. Redeemer's a good one. Speed necrotic longsword +2 sounds fun. How about the Sword of Eternal Servitude, or Rage Claw, or the Thundering Speed Construct Bane Longsword +2? That's a lot of words. How about the Undead, Unbound Blade? Perfection's my favorite. Light of Valor is probably the one that you want. That's a solid smattering of longswords. Okay, let's get rid of these. Notice here's your longsword that they gave you at level 1 for your family heirloom. It is a Cold Iron Longsword +1. Look over here. See the family heirloom +1? See the weapon focus +1, and see the cold iron longsword +1. That's +3 total right there, and that was available to you at level 1. That's amazing right there. And then you had a 16 strength. That's another 3. That's still there. The strength +3. We haven't buffed that in any way. And you had a BAB of 1 at level 1. So you had a 1 plus a 3 plus a 3. You had a +7 to your swing at level 1. That's a solid character. Take that away though and give yourself something like your Light of Valor. Look at that badass freaking paladin weapon. Holy axiomatic +5 weapon, and you get a free spell ability at will. Searing Light Ray spell that you can beam out and hit like Undead or anyone else really for that matter for some solid damage. And level 10 Cleric, that's the highest level of this spell. That's pretty good. That's every round you can do that. But that doesn't mean you get to cast that spell and then swing. It doesn't work that way. You can cast that spell and now you're done. It's okay. If someone's running away from you and you want to hit that last little fucking bastard as he runs away behind the trees, boom, Searing Light. So it's a solid thing. It is a +5 weapon though. That's the reason we're showing it to you. Notice that we had other choices, like I love my Perfection. It is a +5 longsword, but look at all the other shit it gives you. +2 to your armor class across the board. That's here, here, and here. It gives you a +2 to your saves here, here, and here. It gives you a +2 to your attack rolls, so +5 and +2. See that? That's gonna be really nice. The inherent +2 perfection. So that's nice. That's a +7 weapon, technically speaking, as far as I'm concerned, and a bonus to your skills +2. This is a lot of bang for your buck. That's why I love this one, and it's a gift. This is one that one of your artisans, if you kiss her ass, this is her masterpiece, hence the name. And Perfection is an awesome weapon. Notice the crit range is 17 to 20 because it's a longsword. 19 to 20 is the normal range. You have improved critical. Right? So any of your longswords are going to be at this range right now. So we have a nice one here. That's your Light of Valor. Maybe you want to grab your Thundering Speed Construct Bane Longsword +2. Why the hell not? Look at all the shit that fucker does. So it has, it's a +2 weapon, speed, which means you get an extra attack around. That's more than these two were giving us. And then it's thundering, which means it does sonic damage. That's illustrated here, 1d6 or here. See that? Sonic damage is not heavily resisted. And notice this part, it's a construct bane. What does that mean? Against a construct, it's +2 better. So instead of it being a +2 weapon, it's now +4. So that means this would go up 2. This would go up 2 more points. So 19 would go to 21. Wait, there's more. Then, per hit, it would add another 2d6 of damage to the motherfucker. So not only do you get this 1d6 of sonic damage, you get 2d6 of like force damage or some shit because it's a bane weapon. That's awesome. That's a big fuck you to that bad guy, but only constructs. That's kind of lame. But when you find a construct, that's going to be money. You will enjoy it. Last one over here, let's just grab you a speed necrotic. Nah, I don't care about that one. Redeemer. Rage Claw. This one's actually kind of interesting. Look at this one. It's only a +2. Furious Adamantine. Remember that DR? If you have Stone Skin, it's another fine spell, for example, that you would probably want on one of these characters. It's DR10/Adamantine. So if it's an Adamantine weapon, it penetrates the DR. So bad guys will have that spell too. Here's your weapon to cut right through that shit like butter. But look at the Furious. What does it do? If you rage anyway, whether it's from a spell, you're a barbarian, you have a piece of gear that makes you rage like a barbarian, when you're under the effect of rage, however you get there, it's +2 better. So +2 again jumps to +4. Pretty damn cool, right? So again, pretty interesting weapons that you have as a longsword guy. There's even more scimitars, but the point's still the same. There's decent choices. Now let's take this +2 weapon without rage or anything else. Let's make it +5. How can I do that? Well, here is your ability to upgrade your divine weapon. Remember, we have how many pluses on that? Here's your paladin. Here's your divine weapon, +3. See that? If I just click that thing, this one right here, if I don't add any of the paladin buffs, that's these big sword looking things here, and I put a few of them down here, but not all of them. If I keep all those off, click this once, for 11 minutes, I'll have a +3 better weapon. It's already +2. 2 and 3 is 5. 5 is the highest you can take it. Okay, so if I have a +5 weapon, like this one, if I click this, this will do nothing. So why click it? This is a complete waste then, right? Well, not really. Remember, this is a +5, what? +5 holy and axiomatic. We have the ability to make those holy and axiomatic weapons. Here's holy, here's axiomatic. It's already built into the weapon, so those are wasted. But it's not on fire. That takes 1 point. The point is the +3. So by taking 1 point, I'm taking that +3 down to +2. Again, that's still wasted. So let's make it a fire weapon. Maybe you don't have improved critical. So get yourself a keen weapon. That's another +1. So that's 2 points wasted. Used up. We need another 1. Well, we can't get another 1. Because speed takes 3. Disruption takes 2. So how about we make it a flaming disruption weapon. Okay? So activate both those toggles. That's a 1 and a 2, make 3. Notice if I try to activate anything else, I shut something off. Here's a speed one. That takes 3 points by itself. Let's just make it a speed weapon. That's +3 right there. Used appropriately. Buff it. Okay. I like to shut those off, so I just shut the toggle off. Notice also your Arcane Strike is still on. This shuts off when we try to buff it this way with our Magus ability. So it's nice that it left it on there. But I want you to see something. Let's pause the game. See the buff down here? Divine Weapon. Tells you how long it lasts. You got 11 minutes of buff. Look at your weapon and see what you did to it though. Here's your weapon. See what you've added? The speed. Still +5. Nothing different there. Still holy. Still axiomatic. That was all built into the weapon. The speed component was the buff you added. That's why you're getting an extra attack now. That's awesome. But we're not done yet. It's still a +5 weapon. That's on speed. That's holy and axiomatic. I would like to have it on fire, and I would like to have it do cold damage, and I'd like to have it do shock damage. And those are 3 buffs there. +1, +2, +3. This is a different pool set. Look at your class for Magus. How many pluses can you burn? Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's +3. And again, the maximum would be a +5 weapon. It's already at +5, so that's a waste. Well, now it's not. 1, 2, 3. And Enduring Blades don't take points. They take pool points. You see if I shut this one off, see how this jumps to a 10? Turn it back on, this jumps to a 5. That's all that Enduring Blades does. It costs more to activate it, but it now lasts for as many levels of Magus that you have in minutes. You're level 9 Magus, so it will last 9 minutes. If you don't turn Enduring Blades on and click this now, it'll give you these 3 buffs for 1 minute. That's lame. That's why we do with the Enduring Blades. So do Enduring Blades, activate that, unpause it. Notice it shuts off your Arcane Strike. Turn that shit back on. I'm notorious for leaving it off, so always keep it on your tray so you can see it. And you can turn that on back in a fight, but it takes like a swift action to do, so it's kind of annoying. But I shut those toggles off. I even shut the Enduring Blades off to remind me how many points I have a day. But you're buffed up. Look at your weapon now. If you see down here, you still got your 11-minute-ish buff from your Paladin side, and now you have a 9-minute buff from your Magus side, and they work in conjunction. Look at this shit. It is a +5 Holy Achromatic Speed weapon thanks to your Paladin, Flaming Frost Shock weapon thanks to your Magus. That's another 3d6 of different elemental damage you're smacking with every fucking hit. I thought you'd like that. So there you go, buddy. Here's a solid beat-ass character. The other build is going to be tougher. It's going to have more spells and it's going to have more armor. Less Paladin stuff, though. That's kind of a bummer. For example, you will not have these at all. You will not have your Mark of Justice, and you will not have very many Smite Evils, and you will have like 1 or 2 level 1 Paladin spells, and that's it. But there's still plenty of fun to be had there, and I think you'll enjoy it. Last thing to show you before we get out of here is gear. Shut off notes. Shut off miscellaneous items and keys. You don't give a shit about those things usually. I don't think there's any miscellaneous items that you give a rat's ass about. This is like stuff that's like quest items. It's not gear, it's not special, it's not something you chug or something you read or anything like that. Even notes are useless unless you can't find a note. This would be how you gift it to yourself. So shut those 3 things off because you could give a rat's ass about them. But everything else is gear, more or less. Okay? If you're looking for something, the search engine is amazing, but not perfect. Let's give you an example. Scimitar was the other weapon that I'm going to make the other guy have, right? So here's your scimitars. Click search. Look at all the scimitars. There's a shit ton of them. This is not all of them. For example, there's at least one scimitar in the game that's called a cutlass. And without knowing that, how would you know it? Here it is. It even says it's a cutlass. If you equip it, it is categorized as a scimitar. It's an awesome scimitar. But again, you would not know that. So keep an eye out for shit like that. That's a fine example of a mistake in this search engine. But it's what it is. Notice something else though. If I just type A, again, if it's over 100 results, it will not show them. You have to triage stuff. Well, maybe you're looking for just belts. Shut off all these things. And look, now we have all the belts. How do I know it's all of them? Because all I'm looking for is the letter A. Is the letter A in here, in the title, and anywhere in here? Chances are you're going to find a letter A somewhere in here. And boom, now you have every goddamn belt. That's how I found the cutlass, by pure dumb luck. Look at this. These are all your different belts. Now, I'm not saying gift them to yourself, but this would be how you test a build out. Say, oh, I can find this. I know where that's at in the game. Oh, I know when I can buy this one. And that's how I build my characters. To get an idea, pie in the sky dream of what I'm going to get by level 20 and what to shoot for. But notice something else. Let's reset our filters. Take away notes again and miscellaneous items and keys. And I'm going to search for something that I care about. Maybe I want to find gear that affects my wisdom. Search for wisdom. If it gives you a list, you know that wisdom is in the tooltip in here somewhere. Some of this is garbage. Some of this has no effect on you whatsoever. Some of it's bad stuff. Like there's stuff in here that will lower your wisdom. There's stuff in here that's a wand or a scroll. Who cares? You're not going to use them. Here's stuff that you can't even get, so stuff that's not in the normal version of the game. So again, grain of salt on some of this stuff. But for example, open these up and look. Metal Reborn is a solid helmet. It's a +6 to wisdom and charisma, something else you're about to search. And it gives you resistance to physical damage unless it's bludgeoning. So if it's a slashing or piercing attack, you absorb 5 points of damage minimum. That's not bad. So again, some extra protection. You don't like Metal Reborn? How about you get yourself a crown. Here you go. This one is a +6 to intelligence, charisma, and wisdom. And a little bonus to save against compulsion effects, which you're immune to eventually, but until that time, this is a solid upgrade. And again, buffs 3 of your stats, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, 2 of which you give a rat's ass about. I don't really care about intelligence, but it's there. What the hell, I'll take it. And quite frankly, it looks pimp. What's better than that? The Hat of Mental Perfection +8. That's a +8 to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. But this is something you'd probably gift your main character. Why? Let me show you what it looks like. Here is your +8 hat. 8, 8, and 8. Are you going to be a paladin that walks around with that stupid shit on your head? I'll take the penalty dropping it 2, 2, and 2 lower by taking the crown on, because the crown looks fucking baller. See what I'm saying? And again, it's lower, sure, it's subpar, sure, but this is not your main character. So it's okay if you don't like the crown, or maybe you want to have that on your main character and give the hat to like Octavia, because she would love that. It would look cool on her. She's the wizard. You could take the crown as the team captain, and that's a solid buff. But notice we also had your Metal Reborn. Here you go, 6 and 6. I don't get the intelligence bonus, but so what? I don't care. These are the two stats I give a rat's ass about. And look at your health now. Remember, your charisma modifies that. Your charisma modifies all 3 of these, thanks to your divine grace. It will not increase the undead creature. +6 is as high as we got you. I could have got you to +7, but it was kind of wasteful and I didn't care. So it's still a solid upgrade. And look at this, is really nice saves, and we have yet to give you like a cloak of resistance, which we could totally do. +5, +6 exist in the game. So this could be 6 higher for each of these 3 things. And even more, because again, we could give you gear that buffs your dexterity. That would make this higher. We could give you, well, no, that's about it. We could find you something that gives you more charisma than +6, for example. There's a cloak that gives you a charisma +8. Strigoi Embrace, I think is what it's called. But if you, again, you search for, you just do this and you type in charisma. Search. Went through this entire laundry list. There's hats, rings, there's a goddamn sword. A bastard sword with a +6 charisma. That's why I say if you really don't mind, you know, using a feat to get exotic weapon proficiency in bastard sword, this is a solid weapon for you. It's going to crit, going to have a nice hit to it, solid damage, bonus to your will saves, and it's a luck bonus no less. And it's a permanent charisma buff, but that requires you always use that sword from that point on. Because the moment you switch to a different weapon, you lost that 6 charisma bonus, right? So kind of weird, but you could totally do that. But there's other stuff in here. And here's your Strigoi's Embrace, Cloak, +8 charisma, and a spell you didn't have access to. This is how I make my builds and start thinking. And you know, stuff will fall along the way. I'll never find the armor of this, or I'll never grab that officially, or whatever. But I'll still get a good feel for what I'm doing. And that's really what I use this for. Yes, I can gift myself stuff early, but that's cheating, and I wouldn't do that. I'm not there to tell you what to do. But this is how I look for stuff in the game. And if I find, for example, a weapon or something that I'm like Strigoi's Embrace, for example, if I don't know where it's at, then and it doesn't tell me how to find it, then I literally go on Google and I go, Strigoi's Embrace, Pathfinder Kingmaker, where's it at, kind of thing, and someone will tell you. It's out there somewhere. Someone will say, oh, you just need to beat this guy, or it's behind him. There's a massive perception check, so make sure to take your team that can spot stuff, and oh, you'll find the cloak in some stump by a tree, or whatever. And the point is, bam, you got the gear that you wanted now. And I'm totally cool with doing it that way. And there's plenty of other things you could be looking for. For example, we could look up stuff that's Paladin related. It's not much. Some of these are going to be stupid things, like Zavern's Cross. There's nothing that's Paladin related about it. It does say Paladin here, and that's why it lit up. See that? So that one's garbage. But Blessed Path, this is plate mail. +2 plate mail. You can get it early, no less. Only good characters can wear it. Keep reading where it says bonus to wisdom and charisma. It's only +2. But a +4 saving throw bonus against compulsion effects and poisons. For a paladin, that's money. And then keep reading. If equipped by a paladin, it gives you 2 more smite evils a day. That's fucking tits. I love that. There's another thing you could be looking for. You could be looking for something like smite evil. So just type in smite. And these are the things that show it up. Again, nothing there. This one gets +2. Cloak of the Lion. This one uses your Smite Evil ability to grant the team around you a range of 20 feet around you immunity to fear for a number of rounds equal to your Paladin level. We have a spell that already does that. But if you didn't have that spell or didn't want to use it, you could use your Smite Evil to protect the team. Notice this is a good cloak. It's +3 for everybody except a lawful good character, which is you, and now it's +5. This is a solid cloak. And quite frankly, it looks baller. So I'm going to pick it just to show it to you. It's this guy right here. Look at that shit. Tell me that don't look fucking awesome for your paladin. And again, +5, +5, +5, like I said. And again, you will have an ability. Where's your smite evils? 4 of them. No, where you at? I probably need to force myself to rest so I can recharge the ability of the cloak. Instant rest. Okay, close. Where you at, little bastard? It's called, yeah, Cloak of the Lion. There it is. 4 times a day. We can click that, and it will last for, since you're Paladin level 11 rounds, so 66 seconds of buffing your team where you make them immune, where you just click it, and again, you'll see that it makes that go away. Ready? That's them, and as you can see right there, Cloak of the Lion, 1 minute, 6 seconds, like I said, and now they have their immunity to fear. Fucking awesome, right? And again, you don't have to use a spell now. You can use your spell for something else. You don't have to go that cloak. Again, there's a ton of ways to build a character, is my take-home message to you. Look for the shit that matters to you, but notice that Smite Evil, there wasn't many choices. Blessed Path was one of them. Righteous Might was another. This is the heavy mace I was telling you about. It doesn't give you more Smite Evils or Mark of Justices, but if anything's affected by your Smite Evil or Mark of Justice, you get a +4 to your swing, better than your +4 here, so it's a +8 to the swing right now. It's a nice weapon. It just doesn't crit very often, but remember, it's a bludgeoning weapon. As such, if that disruption bonus we talked about, it says in the tooltip, it has to be a bludgeoning weapon to kill the undead. Here's a bludgeoning weapon that you could use to kill the undead that you've smited evil or marked justice on them fuckers and watch them just melt. Solid. And there's plenty of heavy maces in the game. The only thing that kills me is there's a bad crit range on them, and there's no family heirloom that's a heavy mace, which I think is a mistake, quite frankly, because that sucks. But on that, go back here, look up heavy maces. Here's most, if not all, the heavy maces in the game. There's ones that do acid damage on a hit. There's a Terror Bringer one. That sounds badass. I look at the named ones usually. Mallet of Woe, Skull Crusher. These ones here, the Malevolent. I think these were added by the modder. So don't think that those are in the game. You could gift them to yourself, but it's kind of cheesy. It's a massive mace that does elemental damage based on the type. So corrosion is acid. You got acid, fire, cold, electric, and even sonic, no less. That's the scream, which is pretty tits for like a paladin or a bard. But notice what happened. Per hit, not only does it do the thundering attack, it makes them vulnerable to sound, which means they take more damage from your sound attacks. Your sound spells like shout, ear-piercing scream, greater shout, key shout. There's a lot of really good shit you could do with these things. But again, I don't think those exist in the game naturally. But you could gift it to yourself, I suppose. If I were to gift myself something like this in the game, the way I would justify it, if it was just a heavy mace +1, I would justify it as kind of like a family heirloom. Dad retired, he gave me my heavy mace +1. Here you go, son. Go kick some trolls or whatever. Okay, so again, it's not game breaking because it's only a 1 weapon that I'm getting at level 1 that's a +1 weapon. And again, for most of those family heirlooms in the game, that's what you get, is a +1 weapon, like our Cold Iron Longsword. But if I were to give myself something like one of these and try to justify it, here's how I would do it. I would pick out like 3 of my best pieces of gear that I'm not using, 3 of my best weapons, delete them, throw them in the trash, whatever, and then gift myself this and say, oh, I had my blacksmith make these weapons into this weapon. See what I did? And again, it worked for my brain, so it's good enough for me. But it's cheesy, and that's for sure. But notice there's a really good mace here. Not only did the Righteous Punishment in here, Authority is a decent one too. That one's fire immunity, bonus to persuasion checks. And remember, persuasion is intimidation for you. Bam, that's another +5. Then notice this, on a successful hit, they do a fortitude check or they're set on fire and become nauseated for 1 round. This is an amazing fuck you weapon. Don't like that one? The one I just gifted you, the Sovereign, that's the one you want. Look at this monster. The Sovereign. Don't do that, you dumbass. Hey, the Sovereign Heavy Mace looks awesome for 1, and it's a +5 weapon for 2, and it's got a terrible crit range, but whatever. It is a +5 Heavy Mace, but watch this. On every hit for a new target in combat, you get a stacking bonus to all these things: armor, attacks, and saves until the end of the fight. So if there's 1 guy, you're only getting a +1 to all those things. If there's 5 dudes in that room, hit all 5 guys. Just love tap each one of them. Just once. Hit this guy, don't necessarily kill him, switch to the next guy. Hit him, move to the next guy. Just circle around the room, hit everyone you can. By the end of that fight, you'll be at a +5 to your armor, to your attacks, and your saves across the board. And as soon as the battle's over, poof, they disappear. Move into the next room, repeat the process. This is an amazing weapon That's why heavy maces rule in this game, because there's a shit ton of them and they're really good. If it weren't for this crappy ass only crit on a 20, I would totally have grabbed it. If it was a 19 and 20, this would be your weapon of choice, in my opinion. This is a total paladin thing, or a cleric thing for that matter. Feels right. And I'm old D&D school, man. I remember when, not paladins, but clerics could not equip a bladed weapon. They can't even use bow and arrows because it's got a blade. Everything was blunt. They had arrows that were blunt. They could use like a sling and with stones, and that's usually how they got around with getting a ranged attack without spells. But they would actually have a bow and arrow where the arrows were blunt crosses. They were weird. They were arrows that when you would hit a target, you would heal them. They would take damage from the arrow. It'd be minor, but they would take damage, and then they would heal them like a cure spell. And this would be how the clerics back in the day, Dungeons and Dragons style, would heal their teammates at range. They would shoot them with these fucking arrows. It was so weird, dude. I'm telling you, you're so lucky you don't have that. Again, other stuff to point out though, like we could be looking for armor. Just give you a fine example of stuff that you get for armor. Remember, you can have heavy armor from the get-go, but you need to name it. You can't just say heavy armor. You have to type in something like plate and search. And notice that some of these will be breastplate, like the plate of the beast. That's breastplate, breastplate of afterlife. But then there's Death Crusaders full plate, dragon scale plate, that's full plate. Half plate is in the game. And again, there's half plate, full plate, and then there's banded. Those are your 3 heavy armors. You could look those up separately. You could also look up breastplate just by literally typing in breastplate, like so. Prove to yourself that there's not a typo, because sometimes they'll do a typo. Put a space in there, no result. Okay, so now you know. Search back again. Same with like scale mail. I think it's all one word. Sometimes there's a typo. Prove it to yourself. Nope, you're good. Back to searching again. Here you go. And these are all your various scale mails in the game. Bone mail being one of my favorite, and quite frankly for you as an undead paladin, makes the most sense, quite frankly. Look at this fucking armor. It is made of the bones of your fallen enemies. Who fucking tits is that? And look at it. Not only is it good armor, decent dexterity, which you don't have a +3 yet, but you'll get there. So you'll get some of that dex back. So it'll be 9 and 3. You'll have at least a 12 and 10. You'll have a 22 armor plus more, and then some. It is medium armor, so notice that you get a +2 for it because of the focus +1 and the other focus +1. One came from your feat, one came from your trait. That's the Defender of the Society. That's awesome. That's a nice little +2 to your armor. And the armor's +4. It has DR5/bludgeoning, so again, piercing and slashing weapons are resisted. You take less damage from those. Bludgeoning weapons hurt you, just like the helmet. So they don't stack, so there's no need for this helmet now. Put something else on. This is nice. Notice what else it gives you. Immunity to cold. Remember, you were susceptible to cold. This does work. How do I know it? Watch this. Here's a character. She has a cold spell. I'm going to shoot you in the face with it. Where you at? Where are you? Right here. See, 0 damage. Reduce. See the vulnerability? You should take more damage. That's what vulnerability does. But then you're immune. So it negates it. Boom. Problem solved. See what that is? That's what I'm saying. You can do a lot with this build. You're definitely tough. You're definitely a good swinging character. As far as compared to a fighter, think about this. A fighter level 20 would have a BAB of 20. You have a BAB of 17. That's better than most. And that's still a solid swing. And you have spells that the fighter don't have to buff you up. We have all kinds of ways to make you better. And we haven't even buffed your strength yet. You could get really good with your swings, give you some really good weapons, good armor, good spells. You're doing fine. And I think you'll like this build. But this is everything I really wanted to show you. And again, remember to keep track of your weapon when it's a +1 weapon. Just to switch back and to kind of show you this. Oops. When it's a +1 weapon, remember the best case scenario is +5. If we go like this, notice I did my divine weapon upgrade. What did I give it? +3, because I didn't spend anything. I just clicked the click. I didn't turn on any of the toggles. So it's 1 + 3. It's a +4 weapon now. And you will actually see that over here. You'll see it in the damage. it can go all the way up to a +5. I don't know that we can't get it even higher with this one. Let's try it. We'll just do the general click. We'll do the Enduring Blades. So this is another +3 temporary. Let's see if we can get it to a +7 weapon. That'd be fucking awesome. Might not. And turn your Arcane Strike back on. Shut off your Enduring Blades, because I like to do that. Okay. How did we do? Didn't work. See that? It's still +3. So those won't stack. So use one to make it +3. Use the other one to make it the fire, the cold, the shocking. Or use the other one to make it a speed weapon. Or whatever. The point is, you'll have ways to buff it. 2 different ways. From the Mega side, from the Paladin side. And that will be very cool. Once you start getting into the +3, +4, +5 weapons, though, remember, you can't go better than +5 total. So, if you're going to waste points, don't waste them. Make it a flaming weapon. Make it a keen weapon. Make it a disruption weapon. Whatever makes sense to you. And again, you got other choices over here, so that's really cool. With that, that's all I wanted to say. I know there's a long video, bro. We got another one coming for you, too, and it's going to be just as long, if not longer. And that's the 4 Paladin, 16 Eldritch Scion build. That's coming in a day or two. Give me a little bit of time. Someone asked for another build, and I want to show them that first. Then I'll come back to yours and show you the other suggested build I have for you. It's still good. This one's still good. It's just going to be slightly different and more spells. And, of course, full plate, which I think you would appreciate, too. But with that, my name is Brother Mutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you think of this build. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What would you change? Post down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.